you just prepping?
Oh,
Because those
I
don't
was.
take me too fast.
I know. Well, I mean, I know that this can always be a topic of discussion, but something that I'm holding on to right now, or that I'm grappling with, is this whole idea and process around integration and what's that's like. Because ever since I've started learning about all of these new modalities and all of the different tools and resources that we have in the spiritual space, um, I'm along as a lifelong learner and someone that enjoys um, deep diving into these things. It's very important. It's imperative to integrate and understand the importance of that, and that it's a process, because I would you know get so intrigued, and it's easy for me to go down these rabbit holes in learning, and it's important to take those necessary pauses to actually integrate these things into my daily practice and into my life, as I am becoming more comfortable with sharing, um, my platforms and areas in which I'm holding space, sharing it with others, um, especially as I'm drawing in my community, right? My tribe, and those who will be closest to me as I'm doing this work. So yeah, that's what's top of mind for me right now, and still kind of fighting that urge to continue to learn, but also taking the pauses that I need. Even in my mentorship right now, we took the month of April off, specifically for integration, because we learn a lot in a very short period of time, and we need time um to to live it, to be it, to experience it.
Ooh, pausing to integrate. I think that just might be the title of the episode.
Yeah.
Pausing to integrate. Well, we have already got it started, but I do want to officially welcome everyone to another episode of Healing from Something Podcast. And today I got a wise woman on the other side of this camera. She goes by the name of Venecia. Venecia, welcome to the show.
Yes, yes. Thanks for having me.
Girl, I'm so glad to have you here. It's always a breath of fresh air to hear how you balance corporate and spirituality. And I think I just relate to that so much. So when you say things, especially like if you start going down the rabbit hole, I'm just like locked in because I'm like, yes. Like when we were planning the day we wanted to film and we're like, oh, that's a holiday. How we feel about that? I'm like, girl, I'm good. How you feel about
Yeah, it was so lovely to hear that we both share, the same ideas around just how much we're able to do and get done on these quiet days, right? They're so important and I think honestly that's part of the reason why, we can appreciate holidays even if we don't celebrate.
that?
We can appreciate the slowness around the holidays, to give us that time. And so it's perfect timing for me, actually, and I'm glad that it worked out for you.
Good, good. Well, I want to jump in, Venecia. Tell us what you do and what you enjoy doing more than anything else.
Ah, I love it. So what I've been enjoying doing lately is discovering um myself, and all of the strengths that I have in my spirituality that I didn't know I had, and all of these tools and resources that I didn't know that I could use. And so learning about how to ground myself and how to stay present, other ways, creative ways to give gratitude, how to reset my nervous system, how to have a better relationship with my body. All of these things have been they've been immeasurable, and in my world of wellness and in my self-care regime, and even in my relationships and in my communication with those closest to me. It's and I speak specifically to the energy healing training that I've gotten. I speak to the new ways of movement that I've used, whether that's ecstatic dance or Tandava dance, whether that's yoga, or whether that's a more consistent exercise. We know that we are mind, body, and spirit, and it's important for us to take care of ourselves on each level.
Yes, yes, on each level. And ooh, all of that was a mouthful. And just hearing it and processing it and kind of going back to what you were saying at first, which is pausing for integration and soaking in so many of those tools and so many modalities. And here we're talking about, spiritually or like on a day to day basis, but it applies everywhere. If we just learn, and we never pause for clinicals, we never pause for integration. We just end up knowing a lot of stuff and zero execution, which does not get us any results.
Hmm.
And just hearing you say all of that, it just makes sense to me. I feel very balanced and very grounded today, but like there was a time that I was overwhelmed. Like, how do I meditate? How do I do yoga? I was, I would be like, do I have to do yoga and work out, or can yoga be the workout? You want me to
Right.
do yoga and work out? Okay. All right. Then I got to give time for myself and time for God and time for, my child and my family and my
Hmm.
career. And it just feels overwhelming when you say it that way. But if you just pause to integrate, pause to say, today I'm integrating, 6 out of 7 of the new practices that I've learned, or
Yeah.
whatever that number is. But yeah, so I hear you, girl. You do a lot. You do a lot. And that is that's probably just the half of it. That's why I like to say, like, okay, tell me what you do and what you love to do. Because
Yeah, that's a great
naturally as
question.
yeah, naturally as women, we just do a lot. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So what do you love to do?
What I'm enjoying most right now is putting things into practice. I love being able to share out. What I'm enjoying most is being able to share the things that I've learned. And so, the month of March was a lot about community, and kind of drawing in those who are interested in learning more about it. I've when I first started talking about these things with my family, they're just like, "Oh Lord, like what have you gotten into now?" Or like, "What's new with you?" Or "What are you on?" And difficult in the beginning when they don't quite understand, and people
Yeah.
usually shy away from what they don't understand.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, it was like, okay, what I'm loving to do most right now is simplifying spirituality for so many people that are so, hesitant or apprehensive about using these practices or whatever type of beliefs, letting go of whatever kind of beliefs that they thought it was about. It's like, oh, these things are demonic, or no, we're not supposed to participate, or all these forms of divination are not Christ-like, and so it's been interesting to have some of the conversations that I've had lately, just to help people understand my goals and my purpose. Just with anything, there's a good and the bad side, right? And
Sure.
so we know there are some people that are using things not for good, right? And so it and we also understand what are some of the things that were shared about these things that were lies that we adopted to be truth without understanding and doing the research and learning. And so I've enjoyed learning, but right now in the present, I'm enjoying slowing down and allowing it to ground and allowing that to soak in.
Yes. Ooh. Yes, to all of that, because I feel it and I get it. And simplifying spirituality. Girl, come on with the bars. Simplifying spirituality, because It is difficult. So let me ask you, how do you get there? How did you get there to be this person that can be grounded, practice all of these healing modalities, and then offer that to other people and simplify spirituality to help them get a little bit, I just think it's just a little bit healthier, a little bit deeper, a little bit clearer, or whatever the
Hmm.
results are. Tell me
Well,
how you get there. How
it
did you
started
get
off
there?
me being a student, right? You know, we have to be a student of this work, and we have to be our own clients in this work before we start, calling ourselves a healer, which I don't usually do. I don't call myself a healer. I like to show people what they're capable of doing on their own, outside of just exercise and outside of, whatever form of meditation you might use.
Mm-hmm.
I want to show you how to help you to clear your energy space. I want to show you how to help ground your energy and help people to understand what their energy is and what's not. So when they get in these spaces, and they're protecting themselves too. That's what's been fun, but simplifying it, because a lot of the language and things that we sometimes use are not things that we understand, and we can talk around circles, and it can be so esoteric, but it's easier to digest if we're able to give it to them in simple terms.
Yeah.
And that's what was most helpful for me, because you can say all of these things in a textbook type language, but it's not until we can connect the dots to how those things are able to transform our lives and our world and what it is that we're dealing with right now, or otherwise, it's just going to stay, it's going to stay up there, and we're not going to be able to kind of bring it down. And so when it comes to terminology, when it comes to simplifying concepts, I'm a big like process person. So when I think about process improvement, when I think about making people's jobs easier, I do this in the corporate world. I do this in the day to day. It's like, how can we make this easier for everyone? How can we save each other time? And so I think simplifying it is just easier, because people can say, "Oh, this is something that I can understand. This is
Mm-hmm.
something that I can actually do." And I don't have to complicate it, right? I'm a very logical and practical thinker, so I had so many questions moving into spirituality, and into where sometimes there's not an answer to those questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you don't need to, some things don't have to be explained. But I was like, I need this to make sense. I need to understand what this is.
Yes.
Like, why is this happening? I had all of these questions. And so when I was able to like pause and be like, you know what? I trust myself, learning my therapist, my mentor, she's Dr. Keisha Johnson Brown. Now her last name is Brown. She talks to us a lot in our mentorship about that. It's like, let's get back to here. Let's get back to us. So yes.
Hmm. It's really a breath of fresh air to see how many people are going back or remembering.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say it's a breath of fresh air to be able to see it when you open your phone on social media, or even, certain channels or certain shows that are being produced, because I feel like we went through this era of just looking for the next best thing, which
Mm-hmm.
that's a part of life. We do want to know what is the next big thing, what is going to, like you say, improve or, make us better or give us more of our time back. But I think we just went through this era that we wanted to improve everything and, whatever it is, like microwave or cars or whatever the thing
Yeah.
is. Like, and then we learned the cost of those shortcuts, and we
Mm,
see, family members diagnosed with like way too much stuff, and now
yeah.
everybody is just kind of going back to it. Well, let's just go, to the farm, to the neighbor farm, or let's go get some
Mm-hmm.
chicken, some eggs down there from. It's
Yeah.
just we didn't know, but pausing to integrate, pausing to reflect, pausing to be in community lets us know how close we really are to healing and to like elevating our lives. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of
Yeah.
community, can we get into your event that you had in March on March 28th, which I heard was the bomb? Can we get
Yes.
into
Absolutely.
I love to hear because I love business as well. So I'd love to hear from like a bird's eye view, like being in it and planning for it and all the
Hmm.
behind the scenes stuff and deciding what you're going to offer to the people who show up, but then what do they actually experience and walk away with? And I
Yeah.
just want to hear from you because I have heard that it was the bomb.
Well, this is a great like full circle moment into this question segue based on what we just talked about when we talked about integration, and then we talked about simplifying things. I had so many ideas for what it was I wanted to introduce, but not everything I had fully integrated myself, right? And so at the time that the event happened, I was still in the middle of some learning and some training, and it's been um let me just back up a bit. So like I just mentioned, my mentorship circle was happening. Dr. Kichu's it's called Return to Inner Sovereignty, right? And so we get to this point to where we need to be able to. It started off talking about our own sovereignty. It talked about our inner selves, our inner guidance, using our inner compass as a guide for our lives. And a lot of us, we don't always understand how to listen to ourselves. We uh, uh, we substitute our own guidance by axing outside of ourselves. We're looking outside of ourselves for all of this guidance when
Absolutely.
a
Yeah.
lot of times it's important for us to listen within, right? And if we can't trust ourselves and our own inner sovereignty, like we're not able to really be decisive in our decisions. We're not able to understand, like I said, what's our own energy. We're not able to guide ourselves. We just, it can be like the blind leading the blind. And so, it was so important, especially if we are, especially some of us that are holding space for others, right, like we need to be able to know how to practice that self-awareness. We need to know how to create space in a safe space for our clients and those that we come in contact with. But she's also has taught us tarot cards. She's been teaching us telepathy. She's been teaching us,
Wow.
you name it. It's those
Yeah.
foundations, right? It's a lot of what Aiyana is working on right now. It's like those foundations for those fundamentals that are necessary that a lot of times people in the spiritual space don't always get. You go into taking, your Reiki training, or you go into learning about these things without understanding the basis of it, right? The ground level. So that was like so important. So when the event happened, I said, you know what? I want to create something that I've already understand, and that was the breath work, and that was the movement, that was the sensation. So I called it Pleasure Awakening because I want people to understand that, like, look, this is these pleasurable sensations are what we supposed to be able to feel, and we want to do that in such a way that is healing for our bodies and our minds, and like to ground ourselves. And so many of us talked about where we may have been in the middle of a transition, or something that might have been a fear, or something that we wanted to release or let go of. And so the simple practices that I shared were things that gave us what we needed to start, just part A, right? Like ground level one, like this is where we're going to start. And so when we got towards the end of the event, after we had done some sensory play and after we had done some energy activation, I there was so much more to do, and I had to stop myself because I was like, okay, I only have a certain amount of time. I can't get to everybody. But that was a moment for me of like, okay, girl, like this is an introduction, to what it is that you could do. And now, I've been able to build, even stronger relationships with each of the participants that were there. I was grateful grateful that Aiyana was there. I was grateful that some folks were from work in the corporate space. There were some other people that had done some training and healing with me.
Yes.
It was a huge variety of folks that
Good.
came to show love and support, and I was so grateful to be able to do it. But I was nervous. Let me tell you, I was like, "Am I ready?" I had all these questions about whether I was going to be able to do it and what it was going to look like and how was it going to flow. I definitely overthought it, but when I tell you, it was everything that I needed and that they needed, all wrapped up in one. So it was beautiful, beautiful event. And I do look forward to doing more of those here in Houston and maybe even other places that I travel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Pleasure awakening. We just gonna sit and digest.
Yes.
We
Let
just
that
gonna sit
ground.
and digest
Yeah.
all that you shared. And I can understand it because I'm practicing, I'm learning, and I'm intrigued by it. But making the correlation that pleasure awakening is directly connected to healing,
Yes.
um, and even to manifesting. But like you said, starting at the basics, let's start here. Let's go level one first. But pleasure awakening. So you created a space to show women from many different walks, from very corporate to I'm pretty sure like spiritual baddie,
Mm-hmm.
showing up in the building. But creating a space where people can be curious, where people can learn something and be safe. Like I just feel like we rely so much on other people to tell us something about our body and our health,
Mm-hmm.
that when you or someone creates an intentional space just to teach someone about their body and about their health and about what it's capable of, baby,
Yeah.
that's the tea right there. That's the tea.
Absolutely. When you think about, heightened sensations and sexuality, you just think about sex, right? You just think about that as a form of intimacy. What about that self intimacy? What about that? What about that integrity when we're alone? Like, what about
Mm,
ways in which we can live within our bodies? We had some people that live in their heads. Their third eye and their crown chakra is very overactive.
yeah.
Or you have people that are very, more so grounded, and they don't surpass that. So, just teaching them the basics about where those blockages are and how to help energy to flow, how to do it within movement, and then how to do it within breath work, and then how to do it to kind of, like I said, clear those energy blockages. We hold so much tension in our bodies. We hold so much tension in different parts of our energetic field, and it's simpler than we think it is to
Yeah.
create some balance there, right? And so but the more you know, right, the more you know about what these energy centers are and the purpose of them, the more you're able to do with it. Yeah. And I just
Mhm.
love breaking that down, simplifying that in a way in which they can understand. And it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And I gifted each of them a crystal based on an energy center that they might need to work with in the coming days or weeks. And yeah, just like I'm enjoying building that community within my own space here in Houston, and on platforms like this one where I can reach people and share with them, no matter where they are.
Girl, because I'm all the ideas coming to my head. Like, okay, she got to come back for a part two. Oh, do we need to do this online? Oh, could I host it? Oh, we can get the people in the building. Can we do it like live? Can we show a little, like all
Yes.
these things come into my mind because it's just, it's so fun. Like, I haven't gone to a lot, but the ones I've probably gone to maybe a handful of energy healing events or
Mhm.
like tantra events, but and not saying that your event was tantra, but just
Yeah.
in the realm. um it's so, you just get so relaxed and it's so peaceful and it's like that's possible, like
Yeah.
that depth of just, I don't know, it's bliss. And the people who
Yeah.
get it. Like the people who have shown up
Absolutely.
or done this work, you absolutely know what we're talking about. And even speaking to Aiyana, because I just enrolled in her energy foundations of energy healing class, and I've already
Yes.
taken level one, but she has like level two and added in some stuff. So I'm definitely like, yeah, let me pull up. And understanding that stuff more now this time around than I did the first time is so
Mm-hmm.
beneficial. And even understanding like that there's energy all over our body, that's no different than our pleasure center or our heart center or whatever. But knowing that we have the ability to move that energy out and then embodying that, it just changes the game. And I think like that's really what I'm on a mission to connect with people who recognize that and offer that, because more people need to know you really can heal yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You really can heal yourself with just number one, the mindset to say that I can be well and I will be well and I have access to everything that will make me well.
Yes, absolutely. What you just mentioned made me think about early on my journey, and um, how hard I thought it was gonna be to get to that. I would go into these spaces and appreciate the safety that was there, but I didn't always walk away with what I needed to start doing the work. It's just like anything else that we might watch or that we might,
Yeah.
a class that we might take. Things will resonate with us in different ways, but that embodiment is a different process, And so I know that Ayan is amazing at helping that. She's been a great part of helping me to slow down and capture it. Recently, I was talking about doing the Vipassana, and she was just like, "You sure you want to do that right now?" Like, she's the one that asks those questions, and I was
Yeah.
like, you know what, you're right. Like, it's not the time for that right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
let me give myself some more time, because I have this plan. I'll create this later list, right? A lot of the things that I've learned in corporate, I've been applying into the spiritual space. So I create this later list and I look at all these things that are coming down the pipeline, and I'm just like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. And recently one of my spirit animals is the turtle. And I laugh with my friends about this, because it's like I needed that turtle for me to slow down, to kind of pump the brakes and like, you know
Yeah.
what? Like, this is what we have. Let's work with what we have. And so it's been a beautiful transition into me even accepting my role in this work right now. Like, that was a major shift for me. I know myself to be, I've worked in healthcare over 15 years, and I have all these other strengths, capabilities, and skills, and I'm just like, okay, but this right here was very new to me, and as a Virgo perfectionist, I never like walking into anything that I'm not familiar with. And I think that was part of why I was like, I need to learn this and I need to know this, and I'm not ready yet. It was like, it's okay. It's all
Hmm.
right for you to start at ground level. It's okay for you to start incorporating these things and just to see what they're like and what they feel like, as you're dipping your toe in it, and just kind of
Yeah.
like seeing,
Before you
okay,
fully commit.
when I say I've been playing it safe, I was playing it safe, but I was also taking risks at the same time. And it was like shifting me into, it was propelling me into this work. And so now to be able to understand it more, and now to be able to share it more in a way that I have, I know now why there's a reason that I got the particular energy training that I did, which was a combination of the Kundalini work and in the Tantra space. And so I didn't know exactly why I was called to that, but it called me. I didn't
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it called me. I didn't
That's how
ask
it
for
is.
it,
Yeah.
and light language too. I want to speak a little bit on light language, because I plan to start opening that up a little bit more. It's something that's very sacred to me. So I don't openly share. And it's also one of those things that people it's easy for people to frown upon. It's like,
Hmm.
what is this? What is she saying? I don't
Hmm.
understand it. Like, you're not gonna understand it here. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna understand it from your heart. It's a heart language. It's a sacred language that we spoke before we were given these words and told what they mean, and how to say it. We spoke this sacred language. And so um, I didn't call for it. And when I would hear people speak it, I was just like, that's really cool. Like, I wasn't as intrigued as I have been with some other tools. But when I tell you, it kept coming up, and I was like, okay, all right, spirit is always talking to us. And I was like, okay, I'll tap into this. And so I work with this lady named Naomi. She lives out in Sweden, I believe. Stockholm. Yeah. And she was here visiting. She was visiting in Houston. I'm in Memphis right now, but she was visiting in Houston. And she was like, it was a perfect timing. And so I went to do that. And when I say working with her and clearing the throat chakra and actually speaking that sacred language was a voice that I didn't know I needed. And so now I use it a lot of times to ground myself and to clear my energy or to get into meditation. There's a lot of ways to use it, but I haven't openly shared it with other people. There's some time where that like language comes up, and when I'm working with when I'm working in a spiritual space, and I'll speak it, and it's sometimes it's a message for me, and sometimes it's a message for who I'm working with. But I was like, this is not something that I can clearly understand or explain.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to open up that door just yet. But when I tell you it's been
Wow.
beautiful, it's been
Yeah.
amazing. And so now I can speak it, and I can introduce it to those that, that I feel called to. But it's another one of those tools that I've enjoyed. Yeah.
Man, it's good to hear you talk about it that way. Just so full of light and energy. And I remember when we first started working together, like in the fall, and you mentioned that you wanted to like offer that. And I wasn't familiar with it. So I'm like doing my research. And then I think I'm just kind of like asking you to go a little bit deeper in it. What does the practice look like? Stuff like that. So to hear you talk about it, it just feels like from such a different space, from a very
Hmm.
grounded space. And it sounds like you were deciding where that fit in your intuition because
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's good. I love to hear that.
Absolutely.
Yes, Venecia out here simplifying spirituality, doing all the
Mm.
things. Like this is good stuff. And I think it's stuff that we hear like go inward, everybody's on a healing journey, but that embodiment and that integration piece is so essential for any leveling up in any way of life. We talked a lot about like health, particularly here, but we know that that applies to every single part of our
Hmm.
life.
Yeah. Ooh,
Mm,
I'm so grateful. I've been basking in gratitude in and out because of where I am, and I'm so appreciative for to be able to um, live in this moment so freely. I think
mhm.
for at one point in my life, a couple years ago or so, I prayed. I asked. I was like, "What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? What is it that what is it? Am I really true? Am I truly on my path?"
Mhm.
We have that question, am I
Good.
moving in the right direction? And at one point I knew I wasn't. And so when I prayed and asked for it to be guided to me, things really started to move in such a way that didn't feel like I was going against the grain, right? Everything has just been
Yeah,
flowing so beautifully.
makes a
And
difference.
that's how I know, I'm on this path. And when every time I look up, I'm getting constant downloads and constant confirmations. I have this heightened sense of awareness now. My intuition is spot on. I know, understand, and see more of myself and more of everyone else because our relationships with other people are that relationship that we have with ourselves. So when I tell you that's been the medicine, that has been the antidote
Ooh, that's it.
to a lot of the foolery that was happening in my world and the drama and the issues that I was taking myself through,
Mhm.
and the pain that I was just like constantly recycling and dragging myself through, not in understanding that I had more control. You have more power of your world and of your space.
Yeah,
Um, and the direction that you go in, you are the narrative. You are the narrator of your own story. And each and every day, we can start somewhere with that improvement. That's where I've been at, and it feels amazing. It feels amazing to be here and to share now with people. When you start getting in your flow of things, you create space around you to continue to grow. And so the people that have been in my world, you know, Dr. Keisha, since before, we even when we were just doing talk therapy before I even started taking advantages of some of her of some of the other offerings and services that she had, like Reiki. And now, meeting and coming in contact with Kwan and Aiyana and Iris and all these other people that have now like been a huge part of
Yeah.
my world and understanding of this. And, I come in and I'm like, oh, I'm a baby in this and I don't know what I'm doing. And they're just like, girl, you know
Yes.
exactly what's going on.
Yes. Yeah.
You
Come
know,
on
so
in here
give
and sit
yourself
down
more
and get to
credit.
work.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So come
Yeah.
on in here and get to it. And that's what it's been like, but I've been so grateful for those. Like, although Ayana's younger than me, like she's like a old soul. She's such an old soul. And I was like, I know we were raised by our grandmothers, but like, look, let me tell you, we are old souls when it comes to this work, to where we sit up and we just feel like, man, like we've for real lived lifetimes. We have.
Yes. 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 Y'all, we keep mentioning Aiyana. If you have not listened to any of my episodes with Aiyana, or if you have not just like explored around on her page, like do yourself a favor, just go check her
Yeah.
out. I'm gonna put her
House of
information
Embodied
in here
Alchemy. We
too.
will put it there. Yes, she's been a huge, I'm so grateful. And yeah, I don't even realize, usually in conversations with other people, I don't realize how much I talk about her. But she's been a huge part of this. And I bring up Dr. Keisha too, just because she started off as just a therapist and then she moved into a mentor in this work. And so I'm grateful to have those around me that make this not so taxing, that can speak to it in a way that I can understand, and can help me guide this work, because we need our families, right? Need our spiritual family just as much as we need the other ones to ground it. So yes, I'm so excited about all of what's happening, what you guys are doing, all of what you're doing, and just bringing us into these conversations and allowing us a platform to be able to share, because visibility has been a big deal. It's
Yeah.
like one of those
Yeah.
things that we are sometimes so hesitant to open up to. And now, like, being able to do this and having conversations with you, just how I knew that we would have anyway, to be able to do it and share it is just like it's the icing on the cake right now for what it is that I want to offer to my audience, and for those that are going to be called to work with me, whether in partnership or whether as clients. So thank you so much for holding space for this.
Yeah. It's really my pleasure. Like I really built this podcast for these type of moments, for conversations with, women who are wise, women who understand voice and who understand, everything. So it's very much a pleasure to have you here and just talk through, and I just know how open you are. So just to be open and share with anyone who listens, like, hey, here's an opportunity for you to go a little deeper. Um, Whether that's with you, if they decide, of course, I'll have all your information linked here. If they decide like they want to lock in with you, or if they decide they're curious about something that we discussed today. Like I'm
Hmm.
grateful to offer this conversation, because I feel like it's what I needed when I was going through my healing journey. And we know life is a cycle, like of ups and
Yeah.
downs. But when you get to a point in your life that you just like if everything, and like you just, and I couldn't find anything beyond talk therapy, and talk therapy at that time for me was not working. So when I
Hmm.
find people who are, using different modalities to access healing, I'm intrigued, because damn it, I just wanted to be well. That's all. I just wanted to
Yes.
feel better. And I know there is somebody, right now that this conversation will land on them, and they just really want to heal, and
Hmm.
they're scared, or they have shame, or they, confusion, or whatever the emotion is that's making you pause to do something different. Don't. You want to heal, sometimes you just have to do something different. You want to break
Mm-hmm.
an addiction, you want to break a habit, you want to be well, you want to change the structure of your anatomy, your cells, okay? You want to get that cancerous stuff out, you can. And once I saw that, like my own blood work improved, my own, mood improved, like
Yes.
I'm really the same thing that you said at the beginning. It's like you walk through it first and then you can create a space for others to walk through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more thing that just came to mind that I wanted to mention at the very early stages of when I was asking those questions and I was confused about what was happening, what kind of road I was going to be on. I did not have a good relationship with my body, the best relationship, I would say. There was years ago that I had started eating better and all of that. And then, after COVID, I think a lot of us drank more during COVID, but I definitely cut back on the drinking after COVID. But
But we was
but
coping.
Look, but one of the things that I was battling with was it was like a form of endometriosis, and it was the womb space. You know what I'm saying? It was the womb space that I was battling with, and I didn't quite understand what was happening with my body. I was just like, I know that my iron levels would drop, on occasion, but at one point, a couple years ago, I got some blood work done, and my doctor was like, yeah, your numbers are very, very low. Like my hemoglobin, I think, was at like an 8. And, they were like, okay, we got to do something. Let's figure out what's happening. I think it's your cycles. And so I got the, I got a vaginal ultrasound and that was normal. But I ended up, becoming a part of this study to get an MRI. And the MRI came across an endometrial polyp that I otherwise would not have found. And
Hmm.
so, and as I discovered that, I realized just how much blood loss I was experiencing during my cycles, and like I knew they were heavy, but I didn't know how bad they were. And so it was just one of those, those learning moments for me. Like my mother dealt with fibroids, and a lot of us, have experienced, these things in our community. But I know that a lot of it has to do with womb work. So I had done Sacred Woman Circle and learned about a lot of the herbs and things that we use, but I still didn't quite know what it is that I needed to focus on to get that done. But when I tell you, I I had to change more than I realized. It wasn't just cutting back the drinking. It was the diet, it was the movement, it was like you said, it was the mindset, energetically. All of these things had to be done. I mean, aside from that, I mean, I went and got food sensitivity, food sensitive food allergy test, food sensitivity
Hmm.
test. Um to find out what foods I was eating that was causing inflammation in my body. Let me tell you, I was determined. Like you was like, I just want to be well. You know what I mean? And I knew that I was going through this for a reason. And so now I have a whole testimony about that, and now get to the point to where I do have that better relationship with my body and what's happening throughout the entire cycle, not just your menstrual cycle, but when you move into the, follicular, when you move into the your ovulation phase, when you go into
Hmm.
luteal, you know what I'm saying? Like you need to
Yeah.
know what's happening with your body and what it is that you need in those moments, or what will help you to be more well. And so
Yeah.
building that better relationship with my body was imperative. And now when I tell you, I used to have pain in areas that I no longer, it's a lifestyle shift. You know
Okay.
what I mean? This stuff is not, you know what I mean? It's not a one-off fix all. You
Hmm.
can't go to a particular event or take a particular medicine and become healed. And so that's why I can appreciate, all of the work that's been put into what the foundations are like and what the embodiment is like. Because even just the fast that we did in December was like a huge deal for us. Was it a 10-day? Was
It
it a
was
10-day?
intense too.
No, it was 7-day fast.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
7.
it was 7-day fast. And yeah, we need those. I was like, I need to do some detoxes every quarter if I can.
Yes. That's one thing that I learned. It's like our organs are constantly working. When do we let them rest? And I didn't
Mhm.
I didn't even realize that how I, just we can that's a whole nother conversation, girl. But I could go so deep in just realizing, oh, I didn't know my liver needed to reset. I didn't know,
Hmm.
my lungs, my heart, like all these different foods that I've learned to eat according to whatever my symptoms are, but you just don't know what you don't know. And then once you know, you got to do something better.
Yeah, yeah. So, look, I'm excited for what's to come. I'm excited for what I've already been doing and what's coming down the pipeline. I know that the pieces to the puzzle are coming together,
Hmm.
very nicely with the work that I'm doing, and I'm excited to share more about that. I was just reading the Emotion Code book. I think you got the book too. I was reading
Yes,
that one.
yes, girl.
And I just wrapped up a meridian camp, like the traditional Chinese medicine, and learning about the meridians that's gonna exacerbate my energy work on a
And
whole
that's
nother
cool.
level.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are things that are upcoming that are gonna be nice to tie into some of the things that I'm already offering. But I think most importantly right now is to take that pause. I love being able to see what we could do in the spaces that we have. And so yeah, more to come, more to come.
Awesome. Well, I
Uh,
appreciate you coming here and just having a candid conversation with me about, women and wisdom and heart space and spirituality and all the things. And just before I let you get off this line, is there anything that you would want to say, maybe directly to somebody who is your target audience, listening to this right now, intrigued by the conversation that we've had so far?
Yes, absolutely. I would just say, trust that your higher self is always guiding and leading you. You're never alone. You have a host of ancestors and guides that are there to support your healing and your growth. And whenever you feel called to do something, trust that. Trust that you're being called to do it for a reason. When you get those downloads, when you have those dreams, when things are constantly coming to you, trust that that's where you need to go. Don't I spent too much time talking myself out of things. I missed so many opportunities because I didn't trust myself. So I would just say trust your higher self to guide you. When you feel called to move into some of these spaces, no matter how scary it may be at first, just go into it knowing that you are guided, you are protected, and you'll get exactly what you need to get out of it.
Yes,
What
you
they
are.
say, what the kids say,
Yes,
clock
clock
it.
that. Clock it. Yes, all of that. Man, Venetia, it's been a great time, a great conversation. You are welcome to come back all the time, anytime. We can definitely connect and offer something deep for people who want to lock in with us. I'll have all of Venetia's contact information locked in here. So if you want to know more about anything we talked about today, about simplifying spirituality, about pleasure awakening, about light language, anything that she's discussed that maybe you're just intrigued or you're looking for a home to like land these things, connect with her. She's a great resource. Until the next episode, keep healing, y'all.
Yes, take care. Thank you so
Peace.
much, Benicia Divine Reign.